30-10 is the final. Michigan defeats Fresno State. I'm Josh Newkirk for Sam Webb and the Michigan Insider. Sam, let's just dive right in. Obviously, there's some positives, some negatives about this game. Let's start with the positives. That Michigan defense, obviously stifling, looks like a legitimate top 5 defense. They were getting heat on the quarterback. Got a few sacks today, a couple interceptions. The Will Johnson interception ran down the field right here to sort of cap off the win here in the fourth quarter. And let's just start there.
Yeah, they're for real, man. You got to give those guys credit. They lived up to the billing. You saw up front, across the board, really made plays. Mason Graham collapsed in the middle of the defense. I thought Kenneth Grant was strong. The edge guys had great games, especially Josiah Stewart. He was making play after play. Thought Derek Moore was good. Zeke Berry had an excellent debut.
Yep.
The interception. There was a series that basically Zeke shut down by himself. He came up with a big pressure, and then where he almost forced an interception, and then he had a pass breakup that got him off the field. He was really good. Will had the people kept talking about how it wasn't a typical Will Johnson game. I think they were trying some things out. They didn't play a whole lot of man. The only time Will Johnson got beat was in man coverage. But at the end of the game, he said, "Look, let's stop all the foolishness," and he got a pick 6 there to close out the game and call game. I thought Amir Hall was strong in his debut. It was the kind of thing where it got a little tight in because they were, the offense kind of put some pressure on that defense, and you put any defense, you put enough pressure on them, and eventually, an offense is gonna kind of find some cracks. And I thought the Fresno State offense kind of found a few cracks that the Michigan defense is gonna have to tighten up next week. But all in all, I thought it was a really, really good performance and proof positive, I think, that they're going to be one of the top defenses in the country.
Yeah, you got to tip your hat to this Michigan defense. They thought they had the interception there with Makari Page there in the fourth quarter. They got roughing the passer and the unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, that was
they were bogus calls.
That was ridiculous.
They were just crap. We can just call a spade. Bad calls. And then Will Johnson, perfect read of the quarterback, and boom, man. It was honestly like watching Madden. I mean, it was just the way he read the ball and took it to the house. It was just great to see his maturation, and it looks like the guy that we think is going to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, Wink, I think you got to see he's feeling some things out. What do they do well? His zone pressures. It looked a lot like last year. He ran his Sam and Rock blitzes just like we saw last year. He played some man. Now, how much man can he play? He didn't play very much man at all. When he did, it wasn't the best results. Right. So, I mean, is that a sign that they need to work it more? They need to improve? Or does that just mean that you play even less of it? I don't know. That's just something that we'll see. One thing that we know that they'll need to tighten up on, their zone drops against play action.
Yep.
Play action passing and RPOs. Texas is going to RPO Michigan. There's no question. Right. And one of their biggest plays, you saw it. Fresno State found some things over the middle against this team.
Absolutely there, yep.
There was a big RPO that they hit. That's something that Michigan is going to have to tighten up next week. Zone drops against play action and RPOs. If you want to talk about what's one wrinkle that a very strong defensive performance needs to tighten up, that's what I will point to for the Michigan defense.
I definitely feel they got the linebackers that do it. Definitely athletic, the most I've seen here at Michigan in a while. Another bright spot for Michigan today, offensively, Dominic Zapata, 3 field goals, 2 of them in the 50-yard range, 53 yards and 55 yards there in the fourth quarter to put Michigan up 13. What a weapon he has. What a luxury of riches this Michigan football program has had. When you've had 5 years of great kickers, and now you got another guy that can just boom it from half the field away.
Man, that dude.
Yeah.
Game ball. Game ball. He's a weapon.
Yeah.
He's a weapon. You wanna be able to count on the ability to run the football. They weren't able to count on that tonight until the very end. It was a little dicey, but when they had to run the football, they were able to do it, which we'll get to. But Dominic Zapata, you come out of this game saying, okay, I can count on that. Like, what can you hang your hat on if you're if you're Sharon Moore. Right? You're still trying to figure that out offensively, but 30, you get to the 35, 38-yard line. Okay, I know I can kick a field goal with this guy. Like, this dude is locked in.
Yep.
50, 45, 53, 50, 53 and 55 yards. Oh yeah, he's legit. That's big time. These dudes from Jake Money Moody, you thought there was going to be a drop off, and they go and get James Turner and they win a national championship. Okay, there's going to be a drop off from that, and this dude comes out and they don't miss a beat. That's big time portal shopping for a specialist. They don't skip a beat with Dominic Zavada. Game ball to him. He was fantastic in his debut.
Yeah, you mentioned that Davis Warren, the Michigan's starting quarterback, who we'll talk about here in a moment, says, yeah, it shouldn't have thrown that interception. Got to keep tight with the ball because we know that we're in field goal range as soon as we cross that 35-yard line. Got to stay good with the football. Now that I mentioned Davis, let's talk about that Michigan offense. Obviously, a slow start. They get the touchdown the first drive, but really sort of slowed down after that, not really getting the push that we're expected to see with this offensive front, sort of figuring things out. Some balls that Davis admits that he wishes he had back, maybe didn't find the second read. But they got things going there in the fourth quarter. Khalil Mullings was a bright spot. Obviously, Colson Loveland, the All-American tight end, he was their best offensive weapon. So there was some good things to notice, but still some work to be done before they get ready for Texas next week.
Yeah, a lot of work to be done. I mean, you feel good that you found something when you had to at the end. The question is that who they are, or was everything before that who they are? Because lack of cohesion described the offensive performance tonight. And it really started up front. So much of what they want to be starts with the offensive line and the running game. And there were too many missed assignments up front. And so it put you behind the sticks. They were losing first down. And it puts you in disadvantaged down and distance situations. And so when, Davis Warren is between the two quarterbacks, he's your superior passer, right? Well, when you can't run the football and you're putting him in obvious passing situations where they can pin their ears back and pressure's in his face, well, now you're kind of almost mitigating the superior, the superior skill set. And so, you found situations where, he was kind of feeling the heat. It's 3rd and 10, it's 3rd and he's 3rd and 12, and he's behind the sticks. And it was a struggle. You had too many situations where they up front, where you're counting on. There was a wedge play where they turned the guy free inside. Then they had a 3rd, it was a 3rd and 10, but it's a 3rd and 10. And you turn a guy loose on a pressure and it winds up in a sack. Those are just two examples that jump out to me off the top of my head. Now, it wasn't just the offensive line. There were some errant throws in there. And then it wasn't just on the quarterback. There were some times where receivers weren't tracking the ball well. I mean, there was the play down the sideline where it was a double move. Davis throws a good ball, but then your receiver stops running on the play and loses track of the football. So to me, this is what they have to figure out in practice and as they get into games. Can they up front block the run game well enough for Davis Warren to be the quarterback? I think they're going to continue to play both guys. This is what I mean by that. Because with Alex Orji, he can fix missed assignments in the run game. He can fix them. Like, you can see a guy, you can see an MA in the run game. He can pull it on his own read and still get outside and make a play. Right. Or he can break a tackle in the backfield and get upfield and still make a play. He can make those plays in the run game. Now, again, you might have some errant throws. Like they gave him, and this is the flip side of it, they gave him a high percentage throw. He had a sprint smash to the field and he bounced it. Right. Now, he didn't have the benefit of having a lot of throws to warm up. So he was totally cold throwing the football. So you got to you got to give him some grace and saying, man, you didn't throw a pass since the first quarter, and now you got to throw a pass and you bounce it. Now, what his coach would say is, okay, but that's a high percentage throw. You're sprinting towards the pass. They expect you to make that throw. So 6 in one, half dozen the other. The point is, though, they got to be able to run the football. And if they can't block the run effectively enough with the offensive line, you might need your quarterback to fix it, because they were missing that element with JJ McCarthy. JJ last year, his ability on third down to just fix it. He was able to just fix stuff at times. Michigan just in 21 and 22, they were a superior run blocking team. Joe Moore Award proves that. Last year, they didn't run the football as effectively. We talked about it.
Yeah.
And I remember standing on the field.
They were above average.
Yeah.
They weren't great.
I remember standing on the field, and I said, Josh, they don't run it as well as they did, but they run it well enough. And why do they run it well enough? Because JJ can fix it.
Keep you honest.
And how did they fix it? They put reads on some of these plays with JJ McCarthy, because JJ was able to, okay, I'm going to keep the defense honest because I can run the football and account for a defender, right? Or even on non-run plays, just third down plays with my improv skills, I'm going to make a throw. I'm going to make a play to just fix it. His third down ability, or his ability to fix plays in the run game when your offensive line isn't getting it right, made up for a lot. Well, where is that fix-it ability on this team? They need to figure that out. Do they have to have it? They may not. Either they need to have it on the offensive line in the run game, right? If the offensive line can't get it together, or maybe Davis has it. Maybe Davis.
Well, we know that JJ's not walking through that door.
He's not walking through that door.
I think what a lot of people want to see, and I'm one of them, and I'm going to say this, is maybe instead of just bringing in Orgy on second downs, maybe just when the team was struggling, maybe give him a series.
And that might
maybe you're talking about giving him rhythm, and he had the roll out to the right, and he threw it into the ground. He had no rhythm because he never got a series.
He had no rhythm.
He even had a couple first downs.
You're right.
On that opening drive of the second half.
And so that you're making my point. I'm saying that's what they have to figure out as a step. The first thing they got to do is they got to get more cohesion up front. It starts there. They got to get better on the offensive line. There's too many missed assignments on the offense. So you start there. Now, if you get into the game against Texas and you're having the same issues running the football, you got to figure out, okay, do we need to play Alex more to fix this? Because he has the fix-it ability in the run game. And and then we got to, like you said, give him some more play so he can get a rhythm throwing the football. And if he's not in a rhythm throwing the football, maybe we got to just live with some of those errant throws. Or do we need to live with seeing if Davis can have some of that improbability? Because he did show in the spring game and in practice that he had grown in that ability. Some, not to JJ's level, but he had shown that, okay, he's grown in his ability to make plays against pressure. Didn't show as much today, but it was his first game as a starter. You can't say just based on one game that he can't do it, right?
What people need to hope for is that the team that they saw to finish that last drive, Khalil Mullins taking him on the field, and they found Loveland for the touchdown, is it the team they're going to see moving forward? And like Davis Warren said in the post game, we thought if we got the ball again, we would have scored. And you know what? I agree with him. I think what you saw, and it took them a while, they started to wear Fresno State down. They started their big guys started to wear them down. You'd like to see it earlier, and you'd like to maybe see them be able to connect on play action, which they did so great last year.
Yeah.
And they did it a little bit, but not as much as they like. So that's where you want to see, because that's what they're going to need to do that next week in order to win that game. If they can't establish anything, if they can't get play action, and they're just dropping back, that's not going to be a win, Sam. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, you're right. And so that's why the way they finished was really good. It was the best offensive line series of the game. They marched right down the field. They won first down consistently. Coastal Loveland is a matchup win every game.
Absolutely.
And so there were times where it just felt, okay, when all else fails, just go to that matchup.
Right.
You need to find something, go to C Love. Right. He's gonna win, right? Just throw it up to C Love, right? And that's one matchup that you have in the throw game. And then it's one of those deals where if you're losing first down consistently and you're putting them behind the sticks, that's a losing proposition for this team. And that was the case for most of the night. So to me, getting Coastal Loveland involved in the game early and the offensive line not putting you behind the sticks, those are two big keys in this Texas game. And it really starts in practice this week, getting both of those things online, making sure the offensive line is cohesive and making sure you establish Coastal Loveland and keep him going throughout the offensive game plan.
And those are going to be the storylines throughout the week. Can Michigan keep that growth of the offensive line going and get that run game going? Because Michigan needs that to get the win next Saturday. For Sam Webb, I'm Josh Newkirk for the Michigan Inside.